Gentlemen, you're watching My Media Prime Television live from Douala, Cameroon. This is the 6:30 p.m. edition of news. With me, Fon Quinter. Begin today's edition of Prime News in the nation's capital city, Yaoundé, and we're talking about the international weather. The weather, of course, is live, and its absence has a lot of devastating effects on people who often turn to alternative sources that are contaminated. Today being World Water Day, we took interest in the various sources of water in Yaoundé. Clement with details.
Water is life. Water is a free gift of nature. As a human being, it is an ultimate right to consume water and clean water as well. And water is used for numerous activities. Should water therefore be privatized in Cameroon or remain in the care of the public?
And that water should remain in the hands of the public, under the control of the public, because water is not just an important factor which we human beings consume, which we human beings use probably in our cooking, or which we use probably in carrying out our agricultural activities.
Going to the in-depth of the state of potable water in the country, there is dire need for an amelioration.
Inhabitants in many neighborhoods still lack potable water supply. In many quarters, you have people going for weeks and months without potable water supply. This forced them to turn towards water from boreholes, which is not clean and will cause diseases like cholera and typhoid. Consider another city like Bamenda, where I grew up. I know of many quarters in the outskirts of Mancon, where we have networks of pipes connected underground for over 10 years now. But to date, as I'm talking, we don't yet have water flowing in those pipes.
How can water be saved in order to protect the environment for an environmental friendly way?
Biodiversity is declining at an alarming rate. In 2018, a study showed that population sizes of 42% of known terrestrial and plant species have shrunk considerably. Even the plants that we eat are also in danger.
Cameroonians are therefore hopeful for an improved water condition, since the only thing that is constant in life is change.
The lead room reports in that now maintaining a good oral health or hygiene is a challenging task for most individuals around the world, reasons why many oral diseases and related illness continue to exist. In the following paper, Eileen Sama consulted a dentist on what is demanded for all to prevent these diseases. Her report.
The International Day of Oral Health, commemorated every March 20 globally, created to spread awareness about good oral hygiene, sets the ball rolling for the Oral Health Week sponsored by the World Dental Federation for every individual to pay attention to the care of the tooth, roots, tongue, gums, and every part that makes the mouth to prevent oral diseases.
The most important thing to do to prevent this oral disease we are talking about here is what you need to practice good oral hygiene habits. The way you take care of your mouth is very important. The kinds of things you eat are very important. You need to avoid sugar treats. Anything that contains a lot of sugar, avoid it. You limit also the use of tobacco, you limit the use of alcohol. If you can even avoid tobacco, it's good. But when you do all these things and try to eat a balanced diet, you have a good oral health. Should in case therefore you have a problem, it's very, very important that you visit the dentist that will take care of this oral disease and oral problems.
Notes that consequences of oral diseases can extend to other serious health complications or terminal diseases, as Dr. Abraham Ebong tells us.
Now, when you have these oral diseases, let me take for example, a very common one we have is toothache, which is called dental caries. These dental caries can progress to a point whereby it can lead to prophylaxis. Now, when you start into prophylaxis, that's where it comes to toothache. When it is neglected, you can lose this tooth. Not even losing this tooth, it can become complicated that it can lead towards septicemia, blood poisoning. It can even go to a point whereby it causes you heart problems, lungs problems, kidney problems. because all of this has been proven and demonstrated. Even issues like diabetes and hypertension, neglected oral disease has a very important role to play with them.
Dr. Ewang Ebong recommends no tooth extraction unless a dentist approves.
We don't just pull off tooth like that, there must be an indication. And one of these indications, it can either be for orthodontic purposes, that is, you need to pull off a tooth to create space for adjustment of other teeth. Another reason can be that what? Maybe that tooth is causing more harm to the body than expected, and the best solution to resolve that problem is to pull it out.
Now, some tricks and techniques are necessary if the tooth must be cleansed to prevent tooth decay or infections and maintain good oral health.
You brush your teeth from gum level to the teeth level in a sweeping movement, just like that. All the surfaces, the tooth itself has three surfaces: the outer surface, the inside surface, the biting surface, or the official surface. And then we don't forget also our tongue. By so if you do that, and then you don't rinse immediately, you spit out the excess toothpaste and then you rinse later on.
The dentist's advice to all is?
My advice for everyone watching at us and listening to us is that all teeth problems, no matter how bad they can be handled. And it is not advisable to allow them to work on us so heavily. So it is advisable that you visit the dentist if you have any problem for a better solution.
Thus, it is worth taking good care of your oral health and be proud of your mouth for your happiness and well-being.
Several families of the Mbarara community in Kundang division of the West region have been rendered homeless after their houses were burnt down by people of Bofolo village. The attack stems from a dispute over grazing land, and minority Mbarara say since the violence broke out, no competent authority has been to the Sinora Akeba, with details in the following report.
Tears, pain and frustration is what the minority population in Kundang in non-division are left with. In this small village, several houses in the Mbororo camps were set ablaze. Only a few days back, the Bamum community, precisely in Bafole village, located in Kutaba in the West region, attacked the homes of indigenous minority Mbororo in the district of Kuptamu. The head of the Mbororo community explained how it all happened.
On n'a pas le problème avec en tant que tel. Ils ont venu nous attaquer dans le pâturage. Depuis l'année passée.
We don't have any problem as such. They came and attacked us on our grazing land. Since 2 years ago, they have encroached into our grazing land, which is situated at Kundang. So we took the matter to Fumban, to the palace, to our king, because he told us if we have a problem, we should bring it to him. When we took the problem to him, he sent a letter of recommendation to the Dio of Kuptamu and Kutaba, alongside the director of Kundang, to take actions. Kundang is a land that belongs to the state. It is not a land that they could access at will. So the authorities in place and the Sultan decided to prohibit access to the land.
Si quelqu'un peut entrer là-bas, ce n'est pas comme ils sont en train de dire que c'est leur terre. Bon, maintenant, le sultan, avec le sous-préfet, le commandant, toutes les autorités de Koptamu, ils ont arrêté, ils ont dit que non, personne, ils ont venu, la commission est venue, arrêter avec le genre de palais, que personne ne passe là-bas.
The Mbororo community complained they have been marginalized and attacked violently, rendering them homeless. According to the representative of the victims, Alhaji Adamu, since the ugly incident which occurred on Sunday, the competent authorities have not yet reacted. We are confused about what has befallen us today, and even the DO has not even visited the scene up till now. When the incident happened, we rushed to the officials like the commandant de brigade, who informed the DO, whom up till now has not shown up nor sent a representative. We are fed up. We do not know where to run to. We have no shelter. On his part, the representative of the Bafole chief vehemently condemned the actions of his people and says justice should take its course.
J'étais à Fumban, je suis rentré, on m'a informé que mes gens sont venus faire un dégât à Kounan. Je dis la population pas tellement, les enfants de tout temps Koucha. C'est un notable, c'est une famille qui ont fait ça.
Yesterday I was in Fumban. On my way back, I was informed that my people wreaked havoc at Kundeng. This morning, I rushed down to witness a degree of damage done, and I vehemently condemn this act. It is barbaric, and I call on the competent authorities to take its course.
La justice, puisque le Cameroun, c'est un pays de droit. Je condamne cet acte, que la justice soit faite.
The grazing issue in various communities in Cameroon seems to escalate, and the competent authorities need to take urgent action.
Still ahead, sex trafficking and network prostitution is on the rise in the nation's capital city, Yaoundé. Central regional correspondent took interest in the topic and visited a neighborhood in Yaoundé, where this is very common. She also spoke with a repentant sex worker, Colette Lung, with details.
Women and girls are usually trafficked for the purpose of sexual and economic exploitations, particularly prostitution and pornography, forced labor, and water fuel. In cities like Yaoundé, this act is becoming rampant by the day as the economy tightens up. Most girls in these parts of the country are exploiting means of survival. A place in the career quarters after Marché Mokolo, where we visited at night, these girls give in wholehearted body and soul in exchange of quick cash. Behind closed doors, others are into merchandise of these ladies with promised visas to go to countries like Kuwait, Lebanon, along the Mediterranean Sea, sailing abroad through extremely risky paths. In a close and hidden telephone camera, we visited one of these ports in the nation's capital at night over the weekend, pretending to buy drinks, and the numbers of girls involved in this act is a cause for concern. Speaking to one of the French-speaking girls indulged in the act, but now with a terrible and bad experience, she explained at the hidden camera in her skills of having a mastery of the Queen's language to an extent.
The first day I went there, I looked and I saw so many girls. So many girls. And what you do is you sit down and then a man has to come and choose. He has to come and pick you, like the way you go to the market and pick potatoes. He has to come and say, I like this one is the one I'm going with. Had a client in the room, the rest of us would sleep in the couch in the sitting room and wait for the one who is at the room to finish.
While other ladies toy by roadside, in markets, and even in farms to make ends meet, some as nannies, some even clean the street and save the little they earn to acquire skills and upgrade themselves educational-wise by learning a trade. Other girls in the nation's capital hunt for quick cash and end up regretting because they finally get infected and end up losing their lives. At the end of the day, everyone is entitled to the decision they take, and whatever decision they embark on will either make or mar. Thus, lack, suffering is not an excuse for indulging in acts of this magnitude.
The Nyete rubber plantation in the south region of Cameroon is a huge employment source to many Cameroonians. In this report, Dolingande says the company also prides itself up by taking the responsibility of its community socially airport.
Situated some 45 kilometers away from the town of Kribi is the Nyete rubber plantation, which is proud of supporting the state of Cameroon in its drive to reducing unemployment rates in the country. As of now, the company has employed over 4,000 workers who perform diverse functions such as nursing of the rubber trees, treatment, harvesting, processing, and packaging of the final product.
So Evecam got a lot of problems after the pandemic in 2019. Now Evecam tries to evaluate in a good direction. We expect for the next years to continue our investments in the plantation, in the factory, and also about the social actions.
With free potable water in the various camps, schools, health centers, 75% of hospital bills covered by the company, plus the fact that locals can produce and sell rubber products to the firm, the company is said to be covering an estimated 70% of its social responsibility.
When the plants are ready in the nursery, we take them to the field. We plant them, and then you do what we call the upkeep. You do the upkeep, that means bringing fertilizer, doing weeding, so that the plant will reach around 6 years.
Created since 1975, the Niete rubber plantation covers a surface area of 463,000 hectares of land, and the company prides itself for reducing unemployment rates in this part of the country.
We stay in the South region, where the newly elected executive of the Elogmpo Customary and Traditional Assembly of Kribi have been officially installed. The installation ceremony took place over the weekend, as Joy Ngang tells us.
The officials and members of the new Executive Bureau of the Elogmpo Customary and Traditional Assembly and those of the Kribi Coordination for the 2021-2023 biennium took office on Saturday, March 19, 2022 on the shores of the Atlantic Ocean in the South region. This was during their first council session of the year 2022 in Bebambwe last Saturday, during which was a question of analyzing the past year. An analysis which to them was a positive assessment. The Plenary and Traditional Assembly of the Elogmpo is an assembly that brings together several clans for the development of the Mpo community.
We have a very known festival, the Elogmpo Festival. This is our raison d'être, first of all. But we have also indoors activities, families activities, indoors community activities that we have to implement to the children, for them to come closer to their traditions, and all the families around Cameroon first, and then around the world that would like to know more about their community, to know more how they can help, how they can be involved in the daily ongoing activities of the community.
The new leaders were commissioned to work for a large-scale rallying of the Mpo sons and daughters.
The renewal of the bureau, it means that it's the end of a mandate, and the new team has to implement the new missions to bring more dynamism, and that's why we are here for today. So we have a new team. Not really a new team, because the president is the same, but we added new members in the ruling team for new impetus.
The sons and daughters on their part were equally called upon to get involved in the development of their community for the well-being of all.
Bafoussam has been crowned the cleanest city in the West region of Cameroon. The results of the regional health and safety competition for the West region was made public yesterday, March 21, 2022. Katrina Kongwe completes the story.
The Council of Bafoussam has been crowned cleanest council of the Western region of the 2021 edition of the Regional Concours of Hygiene and Health. Being at the top is good, but staying at the top is difficult. We are going to double our efforts together with our inhabitants to ensure that we conserve this position. The cities of Bangate and Chang took the second and third positions, respectively, under the category of the cleanest town. In the category of secondary schools, Government Bilingual School Mbaminam takes the first position, while under the category of primary schools, École Primaire et Maternelle Le Petit Loup de Fumban emerge as champion, and the community of Mazangang emerges first under the category of cleanest bus stations. We acknowledge this success and has been possible due to the collective work put in place by all. Lastly, the market square of Tongang equally emerged cleanest market in the category, as well as the district hospital of Chang and Bangula village, which was voted as the cleanest village, in the presence of the governor of West Region, Augustine Awafonka, who justifies the essence of the events, which ought to take place every January of each year. Under normal circumstances, the event takes place every January of each year, but because of AFCON, it was postponed till dates. Note that the regional concours of hygiene and health is launched every October of each year and is classified under the 9th category.
News on the African continent. We visited Tunisia, Zambia, and the Central African Republic, where national reconciliation talks kicked off yesterday in a bid to bring peace to the troubled country. Developments right ahead. News out of Cameroon. We begin in Tunisia, where at least 95 people were injured in a collision between two passenger trains on Monday morning in the south of the Tunisian capital, Tunis. With no fatalities reported, the injured were rushed to various hospitals for treatment. According to the civil defense spokesman, Maïs Trahi, one of the trains involved in the accident carried passengers, while the second one was empty. The collision between the two trains of the National Company of Tunisian Railways took place minutes before the scheduled arrival of other trains. Tunisia's President Kais Saied today paid a visit to the accident scene, and in a video, the president said a human error would be the cause of the collision. From Tunisia, we move over to the Central African Republic, where national reconciliation talks kicked off yesterday in a bid to bring peace to the troubled country. Representatives of the country ruling party, civil society figures, and invited guests attended the opening of the Central African Republic National Reconciliation talks, held in the absence of rebel groups and highly boycotted by opposition. The reconciliation dialogue, which brought together hundreds of people, was announced by President Faustin Touadéra in 2020 as part of measures to bring peace to the troubled country. The Central African Republic has been mired in civil war since 2013, despite United Nations peacekeeping missions, which has been present in the country. Security remains a fleeting dream for the majority of Central Africans. Let's conclude in Zambia, where former Justice Minister Given Lubinda was arrested and later released on Monday. The Anti-Corruption Commission charged him of 5 counts, including corruption, which involves more than $500,000. The charges relate to property belonging to him and several deposits in bank accounts that are suspected to proceed from criminal activities. Lubinda's arrest is latest twist in a series of prosecutions of high-profile officials in the country from the previous executive that was defeated in August 2021 elections. Following his election last year, Zambia's President Hakainde Hichilema vowed to fight against graft and recover state assets allegedly stolen under the previous government. We've come to the end of today's edition of Prime News on My Media Prime Television. Coming up just after the news is Prime Hour with Leonard and his team. My name is Fon Quinter. Have a great evening in the company of more programs on the African Eye. Good night.